So I take that back to my seller, and the seller says, well, I guess that's it. We're not going to be able to get to that price. And I said, well, the price that we want. I said, well, of course, that's if you want to play by the rules. And I'm all about rules. Okay. I was a cop for a long time, a good one. And during this, I understand that there's really no harm in going back yet again, countering back another time, even if it's at a price higher than what the buyer's best and final offer happened to be. So I explained that to my seller, and I also compared it to a request for repairs. In California, at least as of the current state, properties are sold as is. Everything is negotiable, though, even though properties are sold as is. In fact, most of the time, there are some lenders out there that when it comes to health and safety stuff, they're not going to allow the house to proceed forward until these health and safety issues are remedied. But even though property sold as is, even if somebody puts in the contract at the very beginning, and if you're a buyer, you might have run into this or might run into this, sellers get excited and they put in there, they say, well, the property is as is, seller will not put any money in for credits or repairs or changes or modifications or any of that stuff with regard to the property. That's fine. They put their line in the sand on the contract. But, you get through escrow 2, 3, 4 weeks, and you get kind of, past the request for repairs or up to the request for repairs point, and 99.9% of the time, even if that was something that was agreed to, the request for repairs is issued anyway. They say, we found these issues. We found these issues that we didn't realize existed, and they are of a health and safety nature. The seller, if it is a real health and safety issue, they're probably going to have to attend to those anyway, even if they sell to this buyer or another buyer. And if the buyer's being reasonable about the request, they're not charging, $500 for a GFCI outlet. They're actually putting real numbers down for what repairs or these things would cost. And these are health and safety issues that need to be attended to. Whether this buyer or another buyer, most of the time that's usually looked at in a positive way from the seller's point of view. In other words, the rules are open houses don't sell houses. So we broke that one. And the other rule typically is once somebody puts out their highest and best or best and final, then you shouldn't respond because, well, it's not kosher. Well, in this fact, I would say that real estate, if you're handling it from a business perspective, more than likely you probably wouldn't put best and final. But if you're handling it from an emotional standpoint, maybe you would. So going into a real estate transaction, don't be scared of having your house held open at an open house, but make sure that it's done correctly so it doesn't put you at too much risk liability wise.